mean, if I'm gonna wear something colourful for any video, then it's gonna be this one, isn't it? Hello, you wonderful people, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel, and today I'm gonna be doing a live review of the new compilation from Disciple Records, Afterlife Volume 2. Yes, here we go, finally, installment number 2 of the Afterlife series from Disciple Records. The first of which, of course, came out last year, as we all know, and that was my favourite compilation of the whole of 2020, the whole of last year in bass music. Yep, just consistent quality, some fantastic tunes, brilliant overall as a kind of mix of bass and colour and flavour and all that kind of thing. And yeah, you know, that was just a bit of a case of Disciple capitalising on the thirst, I suppose, for more melody and colour in bass music and dubstep in particular, that was kind of brought about by Halcyon around this time last year, and Rushdown, of course, continually doing their thing as well. So yeah, Disciple going for it again here, and very happy about that they are continuing this compilation series, because the first one was very good. But yeah, another nice little mix of names here that we've got. But anyway, yeah, very much to look forward to as a kind of follow-up to Volume 1. And we got 9 tunes here. I'm hearing them all for the first time. I'm providing comment along the way as per in these videos, and you know how we do by now. And yeah, let's go. First off, we have Lost Limerence by Chime. Okay. Yep, a very sweet opening number here. For me, quite typical of Chime in some ways, and then maybe in others not quite so much. I think, you know, arrangement-wise and the amount going on, the colour of it, of course, the flavour, the melody, very much there from him. But I think it maybe could have just taken that little step, that bit further, just to make it, you know, just to make it catchy and a bit more memorable. Just to have those, you know, those little snippets that are so typical of him. Those little motifs kind of woven into the music that very much elevate it just that little bit more. Because for me, yeah, I think I can appreciate it in quite a lot of ways. Again, just that thing of arrangement, the progression, and the kind of transitioning between sequences I thought was lovely. Just gave it that whole dreamlike and ethereal kind of quality, which was fantastic. But there was a part of me maybe throughout, in particular the first half, I think it did kind of lift up a little bit in the second half, but yeah, that just felt it needed that little spark just to make it a bit more memorable and have that little catchy thing about it, which he is so good at. That could just be a thing of him trying out something a little different, and maybe having the emphasis be just on how calm and how tranquil it is overall, and just really amping up that vibe and making it feel like it has a kind of, you know, carefree, just feel-good factor to it, without trying to really show itself up and put itself out there as something kind of star-studded, if you will. So yeah, you know, some beautiful sounds on show. Again, loving the development and the progression of it. The introduction was beautiful as well, and I did enjoy some of the vocal samples in there, although I think they maybe could have just played a bit of a bigger part here, just to, again, make it that bit more memorable. A lot of good there, I think, on a kind of foundational level, but maybe to push that, just that step up or that bit further, maybe could have been a bit more catchy, a bit more memorable. Stuff I've said already, but yeah, definitely what I'm getting as an impression, having heard that one just one time through. But yeah, that's going to be my thoughts on that opener there from Chime. Next up, we have Synergy by Convexity. high energy, on its feet, lively, just full of punch and thwack. Liking that so far. Just how kind of pronounced and articulated each sound is, I think works very well. Yeah, that was pretty good. Very emphatic for what it was going for. And I think for me, the thing I enjoyed about it most was that kind of dynamic and contrast between having a bit of a stop-start kind of delivery with the heaviness. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It was quite, I mentioned it earlier, but everything was quite, articulated and pronounced when it comes to each sound just having its spot and being heard quite clearly. Just that layout of being a bit staggered and a bit, almost kind of falling over itself, that kind of thing. But it was the contrast of that stop-start, jagged kind of thing against the flow, which was actually fantastic. I think you run a risk if you're going for that staggered and falling over itself kind of vibe, where, it can get so kind of malfunctiony that there isn't really any flow, and it just kind of becomes a bit, jumbled and just messy and stuff like that. But no, the transitioning from each kind of mini idea within the drop into another was just so good. It was just kind of swimming and flowing from one little mini section into another, and I think that was handled pretty masterfully, if I'm being honest. Beyond that, loads of lovely colour in here, production's good, has that proper emphatic feel that it wouldn't have had if the backdrop wasn't quite there, but I think it is there. I enjoy the little bits of, bright and glistening D&B that we get in the introduction and in the midsection as well a little bit. And the outro as well was a nice little blissful section to end it off with. Very fitting, I think, after, the bit of madness that we do get. It isn't necessarily like overly heavy or anything, but it is like, it's emphatic, it is impactful, and I'm enjoying that about it in combination with the colour and the melody we get here. It's got just that right amount of, stuff to kind of hold on to and remember, and then lots of melody and bits of variety here and there as well. I do just also want to mention that I think ACN did have a part in putting this tune together as well, with Convexity, so big up to ACN on that, and the part that he played in this tune. But yeah, that was a nice one. I enjoyed that quite a bit, and looking forward to hearing more of it as I do hear this compilation again. So yeah, good stuff. Next up, we have Essence Access by Devath. Very lovely, calming, soothing introduction we're getting right here. Oh! Quite drawn out. These sections are quite drawn out, like very much, having their place within the tune, I would say. me here, same kind of thing as with the Chime tune, in that, yeah, stylistically, of course, they're quite different. I think here the rhythm kind of aspect is a bit more pronounced. Yeah, I mean, that is the kind of tune I assume that you would call your melodic rhythm or your future rhythm or whatever kind of thing. But yeah, so stylistically quite different from the Chime, but it's again for me that same kind of thing of being quite nice and quite sweet as a tune overall, with the melody and the sounds and all that kind of thing at the forefront, very much playing its part, having its good role in the tune overall, but not in the focal moments, maybe having that thing that quite elevates it up and makes it super memorable or catchy. I think the drops could have done with that, if I'm being honest. Undeniably, I think the melody is very good throughout, and that extends into the heaviness itself. You know, the sounds kind of layered and sprinkled over the top, but I think that is very well done. But for me, I think there could have been something just a little bit more memorable and catchy about it. That's going to make me want to go back to it again and again, because lest we forget, as always, pretty much with this kind of music, you know, those sections do make up the bulk of a tune, and they're kind of the thing that the track is formed around. I mean, here, to be fair, we get a bit of a mid-section that is, like, super long, and I enjoy that a lot. You know, I love how big a part that section plays in the tune, and just the fact that it's allowed to kind of breathe a bit and stay its welcome, which I think is good for the tune. But yeah, ultimately, we have those kind of focal points that the tune is going to kind of center around. And I think that they could have had just a little bit more of something catchy to them. Production was very on point for the most part. I think there were a couple of snares in the heaviness there that just felt a bit too like overblown, like a bit punchy. The kind of sound that you might hear in like in an action film when someone is literally just like punching someone. That big like psh, you know, that kind of like overblown, just stodgy kind of sound when something may be a bit cleaner, like what we heard in the opening section and the mid section and towards the end as well. Just something a little bit cleaner, just to really like accentuate that idea and make it cleaner, more immaculate, more pristine, if you will. But yeah, I think the relationship that we get between the sections is good here. And again, it's a thing of having a good progression with that midsection, again, just having such a big role and, you know, having a good amount of time to just kind of do its thing, if you will, which I think was maybe my favourite thing about it. But yeah, that is going to be my thoughts on that one from Devath. Moving on, we have I Have Something to Tell You by Blosso. That energy surging below. Oh, that's full of life. That is just full of good feeling, that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm liking that. You know, quite a simple idea, not that out there, but the way it's done, so good. Effortlessly good. That's exactly what it sounds like and feels like to me. Oh, the musicality of that is pretty spot on. Like, can't think of a way in which I would improve that. Ooh, a little snare change. Why not, fam? That would have to be my pick so far, just going to put it out there. Again, that thing of just effortlessly good. It just felt like that. You know, there are many a tune out there that are just, you know, you can hear that they're trying to really just amp up the idea, do as much as possible and fit in as much as possible and just have a lot going on as a way of trying to impress the listener, which is fine, and it does work, but sometimes you can just properly kind of rein it in, and if you've got all the elements on lock and functioning alongside each other well and having a good relationship and all that kind of thing, then the simplicity of your idea is going to be welcomed, because it's just quite straightforward, quite easy to get into, but everything that kind of makes it up, all the elements that are being put together here, just on point and perfect, and I think that is exactly what we get here. And it just feels like a bit of a wash of good feeling, like a wave, like a continual kind of surge and movement of good feeling and endorphins and all that kind of thing. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm getting here. Not that much to say about it on that front, because again, there isn't that much going on here ideas-wise. It's just got that kind of flow and that dip in and out of different bits of melodic flavour without having that strong of a concept, although that is the concept. But yeah, I suppose I mean that it doesn't have that many things going on, which is what I've said already, but just trying, I think, to kind of lay bare how simple the ideas are that we get here, but then how kind of complex it is, making sure that every element works together well. And yeah, again, that's exactly what we get here. Yeah, just feeling like a very rounded and complete tune here for me, and that would particularly be the case of the ones we've heard so far. For me anyway, in my opinion, would have to be my pick. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that one from Blosso. Following that, we have What You Need by Ray Volpe. Good vocal samples here. I think maybe the best we've had so far on the compilation. Memorable, catchy. That drop, I appreciate the idea and I appreciate what he's going for. Maybe a bit too much going on, just maybe. Key change. Big. A lot going for that one. I think if we're going through it just section by section, then the introduction, just giving us that What You Need sample, you know, right from the beginning, I think that was very good. Locks you right in as the listener, just chopped up a little bit in the build. The first drop, I think, is good, enjoying the idea, and got that sample again, just kind of laced within it and making itself known. We got that lovely midsection. I think that was beautiful, the way that the vocal was a bit like manipulated and kind of twisted, made a little bit more demented. We did get a drop before that as well, a little double drop, which was kind of more of the same, I suppose. Bit of a key change, which was cool. Don't get that much of that in dubstep music, or bass music of any kind, really. But yeah, that was cool. I enjoyed that. Made it a bit more like a classical pop song in a way. Gave it that distinctive bit of pop flavour, if you get me, just kind of lobbing that in. I think, yeah, that was cool, and something that I think, you know, more bass music could do with having. The one thing that for me does bring it down as a tune overall, and again we go back to that thing of, you know, the drops, the kind of heavier sections that we get here being the focal points, so they're kind of difficult to ignore in the context of the tune, with them being the thing that everything else is kind of framed around, if you get me. But yeah, in those moments, in the heavier moments, even though I do appreciate the ideas, it's a thing of, for me, just really like enjoying what he's going for and enjoying it conceptually. But the execution to me just felt a little bit overblown, like there was a bit too much going on. I personally found it quite hard to kind of distinguish between certain sounds, because there was just so much kind of being brought together, and as a result of that, it just had a bit of an overblown effect, and like I couldn't hear particular things that were going on, and it just felt a bit maxed out, when I think maybe a bit more of a minimal approach could have worked a little bit. But yeah, I mean, that little element besides, I think we're looking at a very yeah, like a tune that just has a bit of a complete feel to it, with the amount that's going on and the different sections we get here, from the introduction and then the midsection as well. The outro was nice, I think, from what I remember, as a way of tying it up together. Definitely lacking in that, you know, in that execution aspect with the heaviest moments we get. Could have had maybe just a little bit less going on and been a little bit cleaner with how it was delivered. But yeah, that's going to be my thoughts on that one from Mr. Volpe. Okay, next up we have Sixth Sense with Origami. That is like blindingly sharp and clean and precise. Like, yeah, there do be some flavor right there, though. Oh yeah. Wee. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Not particularly clear and apparent ideas and concepts here, but that production, I mean, if you can tear yourself away from that, fucking props to you, because for me, that exact thing, that level of detail, that kind of definition on the sound, it just fucking gets me. I cannot bring myself away from enjoying that. Oh my god! Oh. It's like, it's cutting me up, like, just scything, like, oh man. That right there is an exhibition in sound design, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I used that word earlier, pristine, but to me that is exactly what that sounds like. Like, you put something in the wash and it's got a couple of little marks on it here and there, blah blah blah, whatever, a couple little bits of dirt and all that kind of thing. You take it out and it's just got that, you know in like in Bulb 2-in-1 adverts and stuff like that, when you like, they take the clothes out of the washing machine, they got that little pristine, that little ding, that little, those little lights just kind of bing, like kind of shining off the clothes. Like, that is exactly what I was thinking of when I heard that tune. Again, conceptually, not incredible, not like amazing. I'm not like, wow, oh my god, these are ideas that are gonna live long in the memory and, be some of the most exciting of the year. They're not, but, you kind of want to go for that approach when the design is that, impressive and impactful and leaves such a mark. You kind of don't want to be distracted by the idea itself and just be subsumed and consumed by the design itself. And that's exactly what we get here. Just a fucking masterclass in design, in production, sound construction. Just, it is so finely done, it is so finely cut that, again, for me, it's that thing of not being able to tear myself away from it. It just is so captivating, so attention grabbing, just has a complete grasp of you. And I'm sat here trying to find the words, but that is, my experience of that just then. Such a respect for how every sound is executed so that each one can be heard. Nothing's getting lost here. That is a super sharp, colourful, nifty, finely cut little number, and it's gonna be one of my picks of the compilation, I think. Yeah, for sure. I do also want to mention the bits of melody that we got in the surrounding sections, which did give it a bit of story, to be fair. Kind of catchiness that maybe wasn't available in the heaviness, but I think which did play a part well in those parts of the tune, the surrounding sections. But yeah, one that I'm definitely going to be hearing quite a lot going forward. So yeah, top stuff there. Love that. After that, we have Dead Love by Magicbyte and Trixie. Ooh, yup. bum 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 bum. Oi, 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 oi. Good tune, like that quite a bit. That had quite, you know, I was talking about the pop influence that the Ray Volpe had, the Ray Volpe tune had, sorry, and that one, just very much amping that up, I think, with the vocal, I think, from Trixie. I'm pretty sure that was from Trixie. Could have just been a sample, but yeah, it was so good. Basically, it just ticks all the boxes for making a very catchy number. You know, to go with the vocal, you got the bits of melody, you got the repetition from one drop to another in those focal moments, and then you got the production backing it up and being good as well. It's got that complete package kind of feel to it with not that much, you know, sticking out as not quite working, if you know what I mean. For me, the most interesting part about the whole song is that little melodic progression that we get in the heaviness. Do 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 do, which is a very interesting little section, and let me tell you why. So for me, those final few notes, a bit that goes dee dee dee, that completely changes the tone of the tune. So it could have gone dee 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 dee, and that would have given it maybe a more of a sinister kind of dark undertone. But the fact that it goes dee 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 as opposed to dee dee dee, it, you know, it's a very subtle change, but it's a different note, and having that different note just gives it a completely different tone for the tune overall. And I think, you know, having that kind of thing in there does leave quite a bit of potential for maybe a little VIP that takes it in a bit of a darker direction and has that little note change. It just makes it a bit more serious and a bit darker and a bit more naughtier. But for what this tune was going for, you know, quite bright and uplifting and spirited and whatnot, I think those final few notes, do work. One little drawback for me would be the outro. I think that could have been built on a bit and just, you know, played more of a part in the tune overall, just to kind of wind it down and make it gradually kind of deconstruct. I think that would have been nice. But aside from that, yeah, this just has the feel to me of a very well put together tune. And if you did enjoy that tune, then I recommend checking out Magicbyte's EP on noise.fm. So if you just type that into SoundCloud, you will find that EP, which came out a couple of months ago to my knowledge. You'll find it there. Go and check it out. It is good. But yeah, naughty track right there. And ultimately, we have Jitter Click and Mic Shift with No You. Okay. Ooh, that percussion ticking along in the background. The jumpiness of it, how on its feet it is, you know, a bit of a hop and a skip. For me, the instinct is so there, like the idea, the layout of sound. A nice little midsection we're getting here as well. I think maybe could have pushed us that little bit further, maybe had a few sounds in the higher octaves as well. A few more kind of squeezed in there. Okay. Ooh. Oi. It's these bits I'm not quite as big on, that double like kick approach. Yeah, another cut with a lot going for it that I would improve in parts here and there, but I do want to focus on the good here, because I think for me, the instincts here with this tune are so good. I think the idea the layout of the sounds that we get for the most part, and just what they're going for conceptually here. It's the kind of thing that I think a few people try out but don't really deliver in that good of a way, if I'm being honest. So here, I think it would be fair to say that we do get quite an array of good moments. I mean, in particular for me, the release of each drop we get. The second one, just that little bit more impressive, just maybe a bit more going on, a bit more impactful conceptually, but that's not to take anything away from the first one, which is still very impressive for what it's going for and does set the tone on the heavy front. I'm not massive on how each one kind of develops, and the percussion choice there is a little bit odd, you know, just sounding like two kicks when I think a snare could have really unleashed that idea a lot further. But yeah, just going to go back to that point of getting a lot of good here. Moments that are quite clear for me in terms of improvement. Stuff here and there that could have been tweaked and whatnot, but no, for the most part, very good, and I'm enjoying just the instincts here and the ideas and what they're going for overall. It has a unique feel to it, basically, is what I'm saying for the layout of sounds we get. But that is a good little collaboration there from Jitter, Click and Mic Shift. Finally today, we have Memories by Autumn Hate. Bam, 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 bam. Damn, that was a lovely, lovely little outro to round off that track and the compilation. Yep, a nice little tune to finish off here. I mean, doom, 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 doom is just going to be kind of reverberating and echoing throughout my mind for the rest of the day, which is good. You know, it's very sweet, very pleasant. Enjoying that, you know, that's probably my favourite part of the tune overall, I would have to say. Just the fact that that little melodic snippet is kind of given that space in the tune overall and is repeated over and over. That was very much the thing for me, yeah, just propping up the tune and giving it that character, that personality. For me, the execution on that heaviness just had a bit of an overblown feel to it. We have heard Autumn Hate, you know, make super clean music before, and I think this track could have maybe done with a bit more of that. Just has a little bit, again, of that punchy, you know, slightly overblown and just maxed out kind of feeling to it, when it could have been a bit more reduced perhaps and a bit more just cleaner with the delivery on that. But I think the idea is good. Again, the repetition good. Good kind of progression to it. Had a bit of a Neonics spacewalk kind of vibe, I would have to say. You know, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, Autumn Hate sounds like Neonics, Autumn Hate is Neon. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying with those two tunes in particular, they've got a similar kind of vibe and a kind of essence to them. Just that feeling of, you know, floating around in a big, you know, astronaut kind of spacesuit, just traversing across the moon. The outro as well, very good as a way of rounding off the track and the compilation. So yeah, pretty simple, pretty to the point, with that melody just kind of propelling it forward, and a couple little things here and there, a couple aspects that I would maybe change a little bit, just maybe, you know, amp up the cleanliness of the sound overall in those heavy moments. But a lot of good arrangement here, a great melody running through the whole thing, and yeah, it just has a very together feel to it for what it's going for. So yeah, there we go, my thoughts on that one. And now for my thoughts on the compilation overall. And yeah, it is another very good Afterlife compilation on the whole. Some excellent ideas, some incredible production, and, you know, quite a few tunes here have got at least one, and some have both. So yeah, when you're taking that into account, you are looking at quite a good compilation overall, and that is, yeah, exactly what we get here. But I would have to say that there is good about all of them, you know, all 9 that we get here. There isn't one tune of that 9 that I'm outright just like not liking or not enjoying, and I think more than ever, even with the ones that I don't love completely front to back, there's still quite a lot about them that I do like. So yeah, it's just basically another compilation that I look forward to hearing in full again, which isn't really something that I say that often or think even that often. I usually just, having heard it once or twice, you know, just pick out the ones that I enjoy most and just hear those again and again. But I imagine I'll be hearing this one front to back at least 3 or 4 times, which is, you know, saying something for a compilation. Not often that I can do that or am able to do that, but yeah, that is what I'm going to be doing with this one. But yeah, that is what you're going to get with a compilation that is driven by melody in a scene that, you know, doesn't champion it all that much in a given moment, which is kind of what we're having right now. We have the resurgence in this type of music, but is it completely at the forefront yet? I'm not quite sure, but yeah, when you get it, you're going to latch onto it and you're going to give it all the time that it kind of deserves, if you will. It just makes music, it makes music enjoyable, memorable, catchy, emotional, and that, you know, melody just permeates this whole thing. So yeah, I will be going back to it in full quite a few times, I imagine. But yeah, on that note of good, going to go through my favourites here. In order of appearance, we have Convexity, then Blosso, then Sixth Sense, and then Magicbyte and Trixie to finish that off. But yeah, a good compilation again. Well, I think a very good one on the whole and overall. But now I want to know what you guys think. So what are you guys making overall of Afterlife Volume 2? And which tunes of the 9 are your picks? Drop all of your views, your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section down below. Beyond that, keep it naughty. If it's naughty, then you know. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace.